This is Jeff Mucci, publisher of RCR Wireless News, and we're reporting today live. Well, it's not actually live. We're taping it at the MaRS Discovery Center. And I'm here with Don Duval, who's Vice President of Business Services for the MaRS Discovery Center. Don, thank you for joining us today. And
pleasure to be here.
I want to say thanks again. Last night, I moderated a panel for Mobile Monday Toronto. We had over 400 people at the event, and we had it here at your facility. So I've been dying to ask the question, who is MaRS and what is the MaRS Discovery Center?
And what do we do?
And what do you do?
Okay.
Sure.
Well, our mandate is to work with early stage science and technology companies. And we provide a suite of services to help these companies achieve their long-term objectives. So our ultimate measure of success, to put things in perspective, will be job and wealth creation for the Canadian economy. Fully recognizing it might take 15 to 20 years to have a real strong material success story that we can promote. But we do a lot of things along the way to provide, again, the services to help these early stage science and technology entrepreneurs kind of achieve their goals and success. Mm-hmm. So that is our mandate at MaRS. Now, the question that usually comes out of that, well, what do you do to help these companies along? So we have the core engine of MaRS is our business services unit. And we provide a suite of advisory services, educational programs, market research, connections to capital, and kind of talent management services to help companies find that needed CEO if they're a hardcore engineer and really need that business acumen to complement their team, if you will. But bundled together, all those pillars are services that we can provide when we sit down with a client, assess their needs, figure out the right pieces and resources internally to match with them, and then push them along through the maturity model of growing to be a larger, multinational, successful company.
Got it. Tell me about the history of this building.
Well, this actually is the original Toronto General Hospital, built around World War I. It was decommissioned in 2000. But within the four walls here is where they did the clinical trials for insulin. So there's a very strong bond with research, innovation, development, things as such. So just walking through the Heritage Building that you would have crossed in when you came in, there's that feeling of, wow, strong historical community, strong connection to the Innovation Center by virtue of the clinical trials for insulin. And where we are situated and located is right in the heart of Toronto's Discovery District. So within a handful of city blocks, you have multi-billion dollars, maybe a little over $1 billion worth of research that's conducted every year. So it's a vibrant hub right across from universities, research hospitals, our provincial legislature is right across the road. So it's a dynamic hub. Mm-hmm. So in 2000. The Toronto General Hospital was essentially up for sale. And our founding chair, John Evans, saw this piece of real estate and said, okay, this can't go to condo developers. It's too strategically important. Coinciding with that, there was a strong recognition that from a commercialization aspect, Canada was lagging behind the world. Toronto and Ontario followed suit in the fact that a lot of research is going on, but not a lot of it is being commercialized. We need an entity to capitalize on this strong research, but take it to the next level and form a commercialization hub or an engine to take these discoveries and push them to market, form companies and have commercial returns on them. Mm-hmm. So John corralled a handful of private sector leaders from the business community that pooled their own money to secure the land. And by virtue of doing so, the public sector followed. When you have that private sector leadership and you kind of, to use that term, put your own skin in the game, the public sector will follow suit and say, hey, this has a broader economic mandate, this organization as MaRS, to work with these early stage researchers and scientists and technologists with their unique discoveries, to provide the resources to work with these companies to push them through to commercial success. So it's a very unique, history, if you will, that it was private sector led. The public sector then bolted on, which is a pretty significant part of our mandate now, to push us through to where we are today.
Okay. So I travel all around the country. I work internationally with a lot of different associations, and we work closely with Mobile Monday in many markets. And the event we had last night with Mobile Monday Toronto was a stellar event. We had over 400 people.
Good.
And so it's my understanding that you have a strategic relationship with Mobile Monday, where they hold each of their events here. Can you talk a little bit more about why you partner with Mobile Monday?
Mobile Monday has been nothing short of an exceptional partner. Their origins are an organization not unlike many that start out quite small and then kind of outgrow their current real estate and looking for a larger venue to host their events, if you will. That's only part of it. The key value of having Mobile Mondays at MaRS, again, thinking of our mandate, working with early stage science and technology companies, a large part of our portfolio focuses on the telecom and wireless landscape, if you will. So to have an event such as Mobile Mondays that invigorates the wireless communities, brings people together to have, intellectual discussions about the state of the wireless industry, where innovation is going, what the larger incumbents are planning on doing. What a great opportunity to invigorate that community, but also give a chance for our early stage entrepreneurial ventures in our portfolio to participate and learn from some of the larger organizations. So it's been a great partnership for MaRS and our clients.
Okay. Well, I've been here all day conducting interviews. It's a wonderful facility. You can tell it's an older facility, but it's been completely renovated. It's got this beautiful atrium.
Yep.
I spent some of the morning downstairs by the coffee shop, Tim Hortons.
Yep.
And I noticed people.
Welcome to Canada.
Thank you. I noticed a lot of people wearing scrubs.
Yep.
How do you get people wearing scrubs in an office building?
Well, interestingly enough, we are directly attached to hospitals through an underground network.
Okay.
So by virtue of walking through the underground, you would have physicians and nurses and things alike that can just venture into our public space for, well, the reason that you would have saw to get a coffee at Tim Hortons.
Okay.
So simple as that.
Okay. And the auditorium we were in last night, it featured a wireless seminar. I noticed downstairs this morning there was a life sciences or a health related seminar going on. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of the other vertical markets you partner with?
Yeah, we, from a broad categorization, MaRS looks at we're defined by practice is probably the best way to describe it. So every client that we work with and all the subsequent events that we do here can broadly be categorized into one of 5 main categories. ICT, information and communications technology, life sciences, healthcare, clean tech, advanced materials and engineering, and social purpose businesses. That's more from a client perspective. But all the events that we have here are typically all focused around the innovation economy, entrepreneurship, commercialization. And it just so happens that a lot of them can be, if we so choose, kind of bucketed into those categories.
Okay.
The good thing about that is when they're public domain, a lot of the events that you would see, such as the one going on today, is essentially an organization renting out the space to host an event, and it's going to be focused primarily for the people that are invited.
Right.
But in the events where there's something that's public, such as a Mobile Monday or another event, we have the opportunity to reach out to the practices that we believe would find something of interest, invite all of our entrepreneurial clients and our extended stakeholder community, for that matter, to actually participate. A great example of that is we partner with one of the local law firms and one of the local business consulting firms to put on a quarterly clean tech seminar. So hot topics in clean tech. What a great opportunity to inspire our local community here. What's next? And I think the one coming up is on solar. But also for our practice lead who looks after the clean tech portfolio of early stage science and technology companies, we can communicate to them and say, hey, on this date, you need to be here for networking opportunities, learning about the industry and the trends. Right. So it kind of all comes together in one unique model.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned you want to be a hub for innovation and growth. What incentives do you offer, if any, for early stage companies to locate in such a great facility?
Well, interestingly enough, those 4 or 5 key services that I described at the beginning, those are all provided to the clients for free. So there's one, quick incentive right there to work here. You want to have the opportunity to have access to top talent. To give you a sense of materiality, our advisors are former CEOs, former entrepreneurs, subject matter experts. So just the intellectual property within our knowledge workers, if you will, our strong advisors, is a draw to say, hey, as an early stage entrepreneur, I need access to strong mentorship, introductions to customers. MaRS has that. I want to be there and be able to liaise with those people and get that coaching. So it's a huge value there. For companies that are a bit more advanced, further along the maturity model of growth, We do also have an accelerator, incubator as it might be defined, where companies can actually be here, be in this hub within the four walls of MaRS, to have easy access to our advisory services, our market research, our educational programs, so it's a short walk down the hall, which surprisingly enough, having everything under one roof is of huge value and really kind of invigorates the clients to be here. So it's kind of that dual purpose. But the other interesting thing is our tenants. We strategically pick the tenants that are in our building beyond the incubator that have a connection to the innovation economy. So we have a couple of venture capital firms, a few legal firms that, an entrepreneurial client might need help with a patent or might have a question about a term sheet. They are partners with MaRS beyond just tenants. So we have relationships with them that, hey, here's our top, 5 wireless companies in our portfolio. You, VC firm, you need to be interested in this. And we've spent a lot of time with our advisors and our market research and our educational programs, getting them ready that it now makes sense for you to, spend an hour and look at these companies. Likewise with the law firms, here's 2 or 3 companies that are doing the right things. They need help with some legal advice. Can you work with them? So to have it all under one roof really demonstrates the point that place matters. And when you're driving an innovation economy and an innovation agenda, having that kind of magnetic hub, as you might have seen down in the food court, as simple as that, you really feel that cluster and that excitement within the 4 walls.
What role does MaRS play with commercializing technology from some of the local universities?
So we have that's a great question. We have a sister organization, and hopefully I will not confuse you by this, but there's MaRS Discovery District, which focuses on working with early stage companies and entrepreneurs to kind of drive them towards success. That audience and that customer base is kind of a broad brush, throughout the province. We created an organization called MaRS Innovation, which has been up and running now for about a year. And MaRS Innovation is a little bit different. They are a member-based organization that focuses on the unique IP out of 14 member institutions in the GTA, hospitals, University of Toronto, Ryerson, Ontario Institute for Cancer Research. All the unique tidbits of intellectual property and discoveries are aggregated into MaRS Innovation, almost like a single storefront. And that group's mandate is to bundle the unique pieces of IP from the research, almost if you think of a tech transfer office.
Right.
MaRS Innovation serves as an aggregated tech transfer office to take all these unique discoveries and pieces of IP, look at them, bundle them together and say, hey, this product here has a strong commercial opportunity and this should be formed down the path of becoming a company.
Okay.
So that is the main relationship with the universities. University of Toronto and Ryerson and OCAD are heavily involved in that. And that's been up and running for, I guess, a little less than a year when it's fully operational if you measure it that way.
So how does MaRS measure success?
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, our ultimate measure of success will be the materiality around the amount of jobs and the amount of wealth we create for the Canadian economy. Again, fully recognizing that to have a large success of multi-billion dollars, if you will take 15, 20, 25 years, whatever that is. But there's a lot of things that we do in the interim to say, hey, from a pulse check perspective, are our clients giving us high levels of client satisfaction? So we regularly do pulse checks to assess that, yes, we're meeting your needs. Yes, we have the right advisory expertise. Yes, we're satisfying you across all these different criteria. But we also look at at a snapshot on an annual basis, are we creating any jobs? Are we helping create 100 jobs a year? Are we helping create 1,000 jobs a year? So we can get a strong sense as to how many are we actually creating. And then beyond that, on the wealth piece, we are very diligent in tracking how much investment capital goes into those companies and from where. So at any given point, we can aggregate and say, okay, our clients are happy with the service, we're doing an exceptional job there, we're meeting their needs, and we are creating a certain amount of jobs, and we are creating a certain amount of wealth, be it from investment or revenue in these companies. And when you bundle those two things together, good client satisfaction, creating jobs, getting some wealth, getting some revenue, you can say that we are moving down the right path.
Okay. So in aggregate, how much has been invested and how many jobs have been created?
Well, we're doing it on a quarterly basis. So to give you a sense, last quarter we had close to probably around $15 million of private sector capital invested in our companies. which is a great snapshot. We're going to be doing our annual survey to kind of fine-tune the information, if you will, so it's kind of a more granular level to say with a bit more certainty what on an annual basis was your job creation numbers with your early stage companies, what was the total amount of capital invested. Some of the challenges that you can imagine, a lot of the information is reliant on the entrepreneur's self-reporting.
Right.
So it's not meant to be a perfect check, but it's meant to give us a sense of we're trending along the right direction.
I haven't seen another MaRS type facility anywhere. Are you aware of other similar facilities around the world?
I would say not to the breadth and the depth that we offer an array of services. There are a whole suite of other organizations that would be MaRS-like for specific elements of the work that we do. We provide a whole suite of services under a single roof that's integrated with its broader community. Very few organizations do that to the extent that we do. We actually find ourselves partnering with other jurisdictions around the world and sharing our best practices and vice versa to really refine and tweak that model. But I think for the breadth and the depth of all the services we provide, there are not too many.
Okay. And in closing, you mentioned that your board of directors was probably or is probably the single greatest reason for your success. Can you talk a little bit about the board and how they've contributed to your success?
The founding board of directors had the vision. Again, it was led by Dr. John Evans, who's now our chair emeritus, who had the vision to say this place, this physical property at the corner of college and university is too important to Canada's, Ontario's innovation economy. We need a physical place where entrepreneurs, scientists, technologists can aggregate, share ideas, have services provided to help drive their businesses forward. That founding board essentially served as the operating of the initial MaRS entity to really push them through. Beyond that, the current board that we have is one of, okay, where does MaRS go from here? That private sector leadership, that mentality that we have to really drive and spur early stage entrepreneurs has been an absolute asset, and our board has done an exceptional job at doing that.
Well, Don, thank you so much for your time. You've done a great job here.
Thank you.
We appreciate you letting us be a part of it last night.
Absolutely. Pleasure having you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks again.